he made a movie on it. He used the real like footage, like audio of when they encountered ghosts. And it's super cool.
Wow! I want to believe.
Yes.
There it is. It's right there.
Oh.
Look left, baby.
Oh my God! There it is.
Queen Mary.
Matt, there it is.
Oh.
One of these boxes.
Destination
Some episode.
left.
Oh, that's big, huh?
It's big. You can't get a whole lot closer because you got to walk. Somebody needs to get you in it.
Yeah, Matt, do you want me to film and you stand?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wow. There we are, Queen Mary. This is like, been waiting forever for this. 22 years I've been wanting to come here, and it's here.
22 years. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
I'll probably need a couple of photos then too.
We need some oxygen.
Yeah, and a respirator. They have more lifeboats than Titanic did.
Ah.
Because they're smarter. A lot more ghosts too.
You're in.
It's here. You got it.
All right, we're gonna get started. Just got here, folks?
Yes.
We're all here? Yep. Okay, great. So we can go ahead and get started, everyone. I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Laura, and we are basically going through areas of the ship that are reported to be haunted. And as we do so, I'm going to give you guys reports that have been given to us throughout the years. If you have a camera or anything like that, you are definitely more than welcome to use it as we are going about. As well, I just want to ask everyone to please be very careful. We will be going through many, many stairways and also a couple of areas that are a bit dark, so please watch yourselves. Any questions before we get going? Okay, let's get started. Right this way, everyone. Yeah, it does. Yep. Ooh, darkness. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Not too well lit. No. Still, when I fall on my butt, that would be bad.
It's iconic. They showed it on Southern Street.
It's a special. Okay, everyone, well, we have come to the first stop of our tour, and I do want to mention that we are practically at the bottom of this ship, and we are also roughly about 20 feet underwater. This area is known as shaft alleys, so these long tubes that you see running along, those are the ones that were connected to the propellers. The Queen Mary had 4, so there's 2 here and 2 more on the other side of the wall. Now, right in front of us, this is hatch door number 13, which back on July 10th, 1966, there was a really bad accident that happened here, and basically the Queen Mary had encountered a really dense fog early that morning, so the captain had ordered for all these watertight doors to shut down. And maybe about 5 minutes later or so, they found this 18-year-old seaman from Yorkshire, England, trapped right between this door here. Now, as soon as help arrived, he was taken up to the hospital ward where he eventually passed away. And so it's been said throughout the years that he was playing a game called chicken, and that meant him jumping back and forth through this doorway just to see how many times he can pull it off. Then there's that belief he was trying to grab a wrench he had left behind, so it's not certain as to what actually happened. But because of this incident, you know, we do have many guests that'll come through this area, and they say that they feel like someone comes running behind them. Others will say that they've glanced at the corner of their eye and seen a figure of a man wearing coveralls. Now, we've also had guests take pictures right within the engine room area and have caught images of a captain, so there's also reports of the captain liking to hang out within. Next, come on through. Everyone, just to give you an idea of what this area originally was on the ship when it was sailing, looking at this diagram, now this is where we just were, and that is shaft alley. Those back there are the aft engines. Right now, we are within this area, which would have been the forward engines and boiler room number 5. So obvious that they gutted all this out, turned it into what is known as the exhibit hall, which is now used for many special events. The rest of the boiler rooms right further up on the ship, which is well, were gutted out. So this is something that had to be done on the Queen Mary. Okay, let's continue on forward.
65 years, the Queen Mary has played hostess to countless visitors. From the people celebrating the maiden voyage in 1936, to the soldiers en route to fight the greatest battle of the 20th century. And to the tourists and families that continue to visit to this day, one thing always remains the same. There are some things on this ship that cannot be explained by mere facts alone. Even some of history's most famous landmarks tell tales. The Tower of London remains haunted by some of its past inhabitants. The White House still plays host to presidents past. And certain Hollywood landmarks have guests that evidently refuse to leave. These locations, as well as hundreds more, have been referred to as haunted. But is it any wonder that after a history of traveling more than 3 million miles at sea and transporting more than 2 million passengers, that the Queen Mary would have reports of ghostly encounters? Since she docked in 1967, there have been strange occurrences recorded in security files and hotel logs. Stories and circumstances that cannot be explained.
Excuse me, sir? Are you lost? Security control. Is there a veterans event on board tonight? Can you repeat that?
For many years, these events were not spoken of, but since they continue to happen to this day, they can no longer be overlooked.
Are you still open?
Oh yeah, we'll be open for a little while.
We have the place to ourselves tonight.
Just married?
Is it that obvious?
We married on the ship yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Come on in.
This place is really
It's wonderful.
I'll get the drinks. I'll be right back.
I'll be waiting. I really like what you do here. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess you can't break character. I get it.
Go.
Thank you.
Missed you.
Missed you too. Honey, they have actors here in the bar.
What are you talking about?
They dress up in these costume period pieces. So there's one right...
We're the only ones here.
She was right there. I promise. Excuse me? Was there anybody else here?
No one but you two.
What about the woman?
Oh. You must mean the lady. Okay. I think it's time to win a quarter.
These are just some of the hundreds of tales we receive on a daily basis from guests just like you. Some look to find a ghost, some don't believe, or others still, the ghosts seem to be looking for them. Why? Perhaps they don't want to be forgotten, or they merely enjoy spooking us. More likely, they don't realize that they are only remnants of their mortal selves, and are reliving over and over again their time aboard this most mysterious vessel, the Queen Mary.
Hey everyone, we are now standing in what used to be boiler room number 4. Number 3 is in front of us, and on the other side of the bulkhead are boiler rooms number 1 and 2. Back in 2000, when workers were constructing Ghosts and Legends, which takes effect on the other side, the workers who would come and leave their tools and equipment on this end. And one night, one of these workers came back to pick up a toolbox he had left behind, and he said that over on the port side corner, he saw a little girl standing there. Now, the apparition of a little girl is probably one of the most witnessed paranormal activities on this ship, and in fact, we have a report from one of our securities who was working graveyard, and he said he was doing his rounds at the dome, and he saw a little girl standing at one of the doorways out there as well. Also within this area, you guys notice some of the old walkways up here, and of course they need to know where at this point, but we've also had guests take pictures within these areas and have caught images of soldiers. The Queen Mary did serve as a troop carrier during World War II, so that's the reason for those type of sightings. Now right next to the beam here, down at the bottom, we have what is believed to be a vortex, and this is information that we get from investigators that come aboard the ship. But it's supposed to be like a whirlpool of energy that allows spirits to come in and out of our dimension. And the one that's down in this area, it's not a very strong one, but as we do get further along on this tour, it's believed that the main one is located up ahead, and they say you can sometimes feel things within that section. So I will definitely explain more about that as we do get further along. So at this time, feel free to take as many pictures as you like of the area. If any of you want to come down the stairs to get a closer view of things, you may do so as well. Just please be very careful. When you guys are ready, then we will head back out of the room.
Are you gonna head downstairs, Matt?
Okay.
Are you gonna head down the stairs?
I think so, yeah. Is everything looking okay in there?
Well, you look. It's just, I mean, it's really dark, but
Is night vision on or no?
yeah, I think it is.
Is it? Okay. I think that's okay then.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Pretty bizarre weather we're having.
I was telling her about your little, how cool it is that you're here on this ship right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm so glad you guys made it. I mean, it was
It's
getting
quite
it
the
so
story.
close.
Yeah, we barely made it onto the tour, so it was meant to be. To be.
Everything happens for a
It
reason.
does. And what was your name again? Laura. Laura. Yes. Good job, Laura. Thank you.
Watch your step as you're coming in.
I'm just clicking on something record. Is that what you want?
Yep, that's
Okay.
cool. If it starts to
Funny,
run
I
out
was-
of tape,
I was just
let me
letting-
know.
How many, is it an hour or
That's here on one tape.
is there an hour left? I mean, is it an hour tape or
Yep.
how long? Okay.
I tell him what happened to me yesterday, Larry, and I don't know if it was something or not. I was trying to explain to him, but yesterday on my first tour, my first one went out at 12. And so, you know, we came in here and I turned on the video and, you know, and I said, okay, I'll be back when it's over. So I leave the remote up there and I start walking, you know, I'm walking out. And as I'm looking out the door, I told him that I saw something like run across. It looked like a shadow, like just right outside, you know, just go across. And so I told him, you know, I said, I stopped and I thought, who's following us or who's in here, because they shouldn't be in those areas anyways, just for the tour.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, I stopped here and I'm looking and I thought, but whoever it could have been, it just moved too fast for it to have been like someone, you know, I thought they just couldn't move that fast. So I'm standing here because then I started kind of getting scared, you know. I'm like, okay. And so I just started walking out really slowly and I looked over to the left and I mean, there was nothing there. So he's trying to say, well, what if it was a raccoon? Sometimes raccoons sneak in here and stuff. I said, well, it wasn't a little thing. I mean, it was a shadow of a person, it seemed like. And I said, and he's like, I said, well, it could either have been my imagination or it was something, you know. So
Wow,
who knows?
there's this many things seen.
But yeah, and I told him I've never seen anything, you know, as far as paranormal goes here, but I don't know, maybe yesterday could have been like my first actual, you know, that I might have seen something, so who knows.
Love it.
But yeah. Okay, let's head on now.
Very cool.
Exactly. Very goes to the light. It's all right. It's worth it. Oh my God.
It's a workout. I don't think I need all this on anymore. So taking everything off. Okay, everyone, just to let you guys know, we're heading through a section of the ship that they had turned into a maze for our Halloween event. So anyway, since we really don't have guests that'll come through these areas except for the guided tours, then they tend to leave some of the props up. All right, so come on through.
That's a lot like Jigsaw.
Props like these should be for instance.
Yeah.
Folks, be careful, there's a little bit of water there, drip, so just watch yourselves. Okay, little water, careful. Thank you.
Oh, sweet. tape real quick.
We're now standing in what used to be the first class swimming pool, and when the Queen Mary was sailing, this was one of the most luxurious areas that you can find. And obvious that the pool had a slide, and it also had 2 diving boards, one on each side of the slide. The ceiling was a famous mother of pearl ceiling, and just on the other side of that front wall, there's the 18 dressing rooms. Now the pool itself, it can hold up to 24,000 gallons of water, which could be emptied or filled within 25 minutes. And actually, third class would also share the pool. So when it was tea time for first class, that's when they would allow them to come in, swim around, take them out, drain the pool, then fill it back up with fresh salt water for first class. Second class, they have their own pool, and that was located back where we started off from, what is known as the Royal Theater. Now the pool at its deepest point is roughly about 12 feet, and what is considered to be shallow is about 6. And during the war, what they did here is they stacked up the bunk beds inside just to accommodate many of the men that were on the ship during that time. And well, besides all that, I will tell you that the ship has become a very popular place for investigators, and we've had many TV shows come out here for just this purpose alone. In fact, I think just yesterday, last night, we had a group here which is called Fact or Fate. I don't know if you guys ever heard of, yeah, but they were just here. So yeah, so it's like I said, you know, it's a constant thing where we have people come out. Just 2 weeks ago as well, we had a big paranormal convention, and we had celebrities here. I remember we watched Ghost Hunters. Oh, I'm sorry, not Ghost Hunters, but Ghost Adventures. Zach was here, so but many others as well besides. So anyway, yeah, it's a big deal, you know, around here. But anyway, the reason why the pool area is believed to be one of the most active sections is because we have the main vortex located within those dressing rooms. And once again, it's that gateway that allows these spirits to come in and out of our dimension. So we will make our way over to that area in just a bit. But first, some of the sightings in this room. Now there is one about a woman in a white tennis skirt that goes up and down these set of stairs behind us, goes around the pillars and just disappears. And there is another about a woman in a black dress that seems to like to walk around on the upper level of the pool area. And once again, just going back to the little girl I had mentioned about, now she is one that has become quite popular on this ship. And what we've been told is that her name is Jackie. She's about 5 or 6 years old. And she had drowned in the second class swimming pool. But because it's no longer on this ship, that is the reason why she tends to wander and maybe hang out in this area here. And many investigators, when they come over, the one thing that they'll ask her to do is to sing, because that is one of the things that she will usually respond to. Okay, everyone, so let's go ahead and make our way over to those dressing rooms now. I'll explain about that area, then we can come back out here and you can take as many pictures as you like. So please be careful with the speakers that are going to be over to your right.
Do what?
Go ahead and stand in one of these stalls.
Oh my God.
Come on in. You guys want to stand together, you can. Okay, everyone, so right within this area here of the hallway is where it's believed that the vortex is, and what we've been told is that if you guys just go ahead and put your hand out in the hallway section, they say you can sometimes feel a slight change in temperature or like a light breeze. People sometimes say they're feeling heaviness within the area, others just say they're feeling nauseous, lightheaded, sometimes within the stalls themselves you can feel cold spots, so you know, just different feelings of that sort. And I will tell you guys that as as we entered, those were mainly the women's side of the dressing rooms. The men's came further back, and that's just the wall and some of the equipment for ghosts and legends. But as well, we've had guests take pictures right along this hall and have caught images of what looks like a person standing in it, and also what footprints have been found around the pool. So once again, it's just supposed to be a very active area on this ship. Okay, everyone, so at this time, feel free to take pictures in here. If you want to walk further back, you can do that as well. Just be careful. When you guys are ready, then come back out into the open area.
It feels cooler over here. Yeah, right in the corner there.
I feel it. Right here.
Right there.
Wow, cooler over here.
Whoa, Daddy. That's trippy.
Do you want to go down there and take a picture, Matt, where she was talking about?
Sure. Take a picture down this way.
Let me get out of your way. Oh my gosh.
Cool. Cool, cool.
Matt, I see footprints. I see wet footprints.
Are you joking? Are you joking?
Footprints right there. Look at that. Look. Do you see it?
That is one of the things that happens here. They get footprints.
Do you see that?
Yes. Oh my God.
Can't believe you could fill this whole pool with 25 minutes.
That's one of the most interesting that happens here. You get little footprints like start across the floor. Little girls.
Right, take a picture if someone wants to be in it.
What
Do you see? It looks like wet footprints down there.
Oh, whoa. Yeah, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is freaky.
Just that freaky dicky on the video.
Are you saying
Would be forever.
Right there. Right there, this direction. Okay, there's the vent, or the drain. If you go straight up from that left corner, pointed that way.
We have to go, you guys.
We saw the footprints. Oh.
Yay!
No, they're up there.
I was thinking, okay, when do you show yourselves?
Yes. Do it for Matt.
Everyone, in front of us is the Grand Salon, which would have actually been the first-class dining room when the ship was sailing, and also the largest room on the ship at the time. It's almost 3 decks high, and it ran the whole width of this ship, which is 118 feet. If you guys have a chance, I recommend for you to come back and take a look. It is a beautiful room. Over to the left are some of the original elevators, which still function. And there's the main entrance to the pool from the outside. It used to have a revolving door.
It worked earlier. It worked earlier.
Okay, everyone, so we have now entered hotel area of the ship, and we are standing on B deck, which is also considered to be the most haunted deck of them all. And the ship today has 3 decks, roughly about 315 rooms available, and every so often we'll have guests come aboard and request to stay in one of these haunted rooms. So of course we have a list. They'll go ahead and see where others have turned in some kind of activity that they've experienced, and they'll go ahead and put the other guests in those rooms. Okay, come up here.
Somewhere around here.
Beautiful wood on the walls. So there actually is a hotel within this.
Watch your step as you come in, everyone. Okay, everyone, so we are now standing in room B340, which is the most haunted room on this ship, and pretty obvious that it's not being used anymore. Now, ever since they opened the Queen Mary as a hotel, which was back in 1971, that's when everything started. The guests that would stay here, they would run up to the front desk and say that they'd hear someone come knocking on their door in the middle of the night. They would open it and no one would be there. Lights in the bathroom go on and off by themselves. And also the hotel mates would come into this room and find the bathroom water running, even though the room had not been occupied for several days. So they decided to shut it down, did some research, came across one report which was dated for 1948, and that was turned in by one of these staff captains, and that pretty much read, Walter J. Adamson, 3rd class passenger, found dead in room B226, cause of death unknown. And the only thing they ever figured out was that room B226 was later changed to room B340, which is this one here. And just a real quick fact, these were actually 2 cabins, perhaps even 3, when the ship was sailing, and also the bathroom and shower, which are towards the entrance, are not original of the room. 3rd class had to share, and those were actually out in the hallway. So once again, if you'd like to browse in here or take pictures, you may do so at this time. Some of the furniture you see is original of the ship. When you are ready, then come back out into the hallway.
No, it didn't flash. I'm sorry, I walked in your shot.
Where do you want to against this? Lean up against this pole like this.
Alright, let's see if I can get it.
Oh, is that right?
You get it?
It's beautiful, yeah, that's that Art Deco era.
The era, it's
Yes,
so elegant.
Yes, it
Smooth
is.
lawn.
The picture back was before I had digital. There it is. It's all wavy.
Oh, really?
And I went, that's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
And not just like a defect, but like it was wavy, like energy.
Perhaps there was something there.
Something.
Yeah. Huh,
I
interesting.
went, I didn't ask for that. Okay. But thank you.
When you don't ask that it happens.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Okay, everyone, and just over onto the left-hand side, that used to be the third-class nursery, where we've also had guests say that they've gone by the room and heard kids playing or laughing. The room today is no longer in use. They just store things inside. And this picture in front of us is from her maiden voyage, when she was arriving to New York, so this was in 1936. We will be heading out. Isn't that neat? Yeah.
That is long.
Yeah, I know, that's what I thought.
See that little thing on that wall? There's a cigarette ends. It doesn't say cigarette butts, it says cigarette ends.
Okay, everyone, just want to mention that we are now on A deck, and looking down the hall, you can see that it's the longest ongoing deck on this ship, and you can definitely see the dip down the middle. Now, this is the way the Queen Mary was built, what is known as a sheer to the deck, and it helped the Queen Mary with its flexibility as she was out at sea, because she was not equipped with stabilizers when she was first built. Okay, I'll be right back.
Hotel here.
I think so. Yeah, it looks that way.
Yeah, I grew up here, so I just lived in California over there. But my girl here, she's from Minnesota. From far away. Far away, the Great White North.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. I did a big zoom earlier too. Go back this way too.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I've seen it. Gotta document everything.
Okay.
Bigger room.
Question.
Yes.
Was the carpet replaced at all?
Yeah, in fact, these areas would not have carpet. It was a material called cord or ribolium, which was made out of cork and rubber. That way, if it became wet, then it wouldn't be as slippery.
When was that put
So
in?
this is something that was added on. This has been replaced now ever since, but when they converted the ship into a hotel, then that's when they added the carpet in the halls.
It's very much of the era, though.
Yeah,
Yeah. Suits it well.
Some guy told me the other day, he said, do you know what kind of fish those are on the, you know, and I was like, oh God, well, I've never got fish. No, yeah, well, yeah, these right here. And so
They look like
yeah, I think I said that or something, but I'm not sure. I said, you know, I've never done that question. I have no idea. He's like, well, you know, my buddy back here said that's carpet fish. I was like, oh, carpet fish. I was like, oh, okay. So,
Yeah, I think it's a common old goldfish.
yeah, right. Okay, everyone, so we are now on M deck, which is where we have our suites located, and the suites on the ship have names on them. So you might have noticed the Queen Mary, King George, Eisenhower, you know, list goes on, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the people stayed in these rooms, except for the one we're going to. And this is M119, which is in Winston Churchill, and this is during the war that he was on the ship, so we don't know how extensive the stays were during that time. But there's been guests that say that they've gone by this room or inside the room and have gotten a smell of fresh cigars. So anyway, I will go ahead and open it up. You guys come on in, feel free to browse the room, and when you are ready, then come on back.
Interesting.
Oh, really?
Big room for the ship. Some people actually stay here now.
Yeah. What is this?
I wonder what their complimentary breakfasts are here.
Yeah.
Popcorn.
Are they?
I was gonna ask what that was with this vent, where you can feel the air coming through. See this? Coming through there.
Can you imagine? It's like China.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wonder what this is all about, this green and red situations.
He just pushes it.
It's like, why not?
This for Winston Churchill. So he signals when he wants his dinner.
Exactly. Now you don't know me. You might be signaling somebody. They're like, what do they want in that room?
It's for the ambulance.
I mean, it was one of these kind of corridors.
Yes.
Oh. It kind of trips me out to be back here after seeing that picture.
Yeah, the battery's going dead.
Is it?
That's flashing. Does that mean battery?
Yep.
Should I stop it? Or just go till it dies?
Or do you want to wait till we find that paranormal?
Okay. Okay, everyone, and this is the promenade deck, which does mean that we're all finished with our tours. So thank you all very, very much for coming along. And just a reminder that the exhibits do shut down at 6 p.m. So if there's anything you have not seen, this would be the time to do so. Yeah, so we're all done. Thank you very much. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.
I have a question.
You have, yes.
The last time that we were here, there's a section where you have paranormal investigations.
We no longer have that room.
You don't?
No. Yeah, I know what you're speaking of.
Darn it.
And that is no longer around, yes.
Darn.
We have another area that might be neat for you guys to see would be the isolation ward. And that's, we have the list of the passengers and crew that passed away there. And then they have an embalming kit displayed. I mean, it's all like that was the nurses' areas and stuff like that. So
wherever you want to go in
like
that.
going into this area.
Elevator.
On the ship. Yeah, buddy. That is so beautiful.
Yeah. No, I did. I flipped this for a while. That doesn't get red. I like.
Oh, Matt, it's present time.
Present time? What?
Signed by the author.
No way! This is so cool. Thank you.
Signed by the author.
It's the book.
I'm like trying to do it like, and then you guys come up and I'm like, hey.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sweetheart.
Oh,
I'm so glad this has been a great experience for you.
it has.
And
So here's a little bag.
And he loves the thing.
Did you? Oh, good.
Yeah.
See, I never know.
It was
See,
thrilling.
that's what I said. I didn't know if he'd be offended by it because it's like kind of, making
Little
fun of
candy,
it.
little candy.
But he
And
loved
there's
it.
a shot glass, but there's all kinds of ones in here. So, pick what you like. And there's a card from the place I got it.
Wow.
For you.
Thank you so much. You're
I
the
wanted to give you
sweetest.
something special for your first time.
My lifelong
Where you married.
ambition that has come true.
Bucket list. We need like something good to remember it by. Big. I always get pictures from you guys because this camera sucks.
Yeah, Matt.
Wow. You guys got the best weather. Well, I wanted to see more.
I was gonna do the King of the World up there. But
Oh,
can't
sure.
Oh, wow.
Oh.